Hi, my name is Meshell, and I am a Black, Indigenous woman with a disability who specializes in entrepreneurship as a business leadership and training practitioner and a master in communications. So I'm applying for the Assistant Vice President Innovation, Partnership, and Entrepreneurship role at University of Toronto. And I will start off by saying I rebuilt my life after being struck by a commercial freight truck 5 years ago in what was a motor vehicle accident. And I am still working on rebuilding myself, but I am ready to be a part of a leadership team, a collaborative leadership team that focuses on entrepreneurship, intellectual property, and innovation. And I will say what I've learned is the importance of being resilient. And what I've learned is resilience isn't something that you have to be born with. It's something that you practice every day. So for me, every day I show up with it's striving for that possibility, not limiting myself, not thinking of limitations, looking at opportunities. And sometimes that means showing up with a walker, and frankly, it has more miles on it than my first car did. And looking back, I started at the University of Toronto as this shy student full of questions, and it was just honestly the beginning of my academic journey in life that has been coupled with my career. And at that time, I left the classroom to pursue social entrepreneurship and real-world experience. And like my mentors, Bruce Poon-Tip and Margot Francine, I was ready to go. I needed to do something innovative, and I started with a digital communications company that I launched out of Canada and worked. Primarily, my customers were in the United States, and actually, Earl Grey Sr., the late Earl Grey Sr., gave me my first break, and he was the founder of Black Enterprise, and recently his son is here actually in Toronto. So I would say that the decisions that I've made have really shaped my career. Over 25 years building entrepreneurship training programs, co-founding these programs from basically a research paper, essentially, working with organizations like York University, working with the University of the West Indies, and just having this incredible opportunity to work with investors. A great opportunity for me. So from working with STEM founders and small businesses to grassroots organizations, I've helped people find their voice and build their ideas and take action. And basically, I would say, the way I would describe some of my career is I've skipped, quite a few lectures in the early stages, and I have somehow managed to graduate through the School of Life, lived experience, lived work experience with honors. For more than 2.5 decades, I've been committed to working with entrepreneurs, STEM entrepreneurs, inventors, and educational institutions. I've worked with multilingual community education, and employment partners to help navigate entrepreneurship training, technology, innovation training programs, particularly in STEM programs for internationally educated and trained professionals. So I work with professionals and students to help them launch, scale, and maintain their businesses. Working with students to develop their business plans, work on the market research aspect, help them build their teams, activate their entrepreneurial endeavors has been one of the best experiences that I've had in my career. Doing the work needed to tap into the right market, to develop their MVP, and moving through iteration after iteration, getting those initial customers, that's the hard work. Typically goes unnoticed. I have been instrumental in working on a ministry level, developing policies to help entrepreneurs access funding. So I have had the pleasure of being invited to serve on a ministry committee as an advisor to support Ontarians with disabilities and other people who have illnesses that prevent them from working to find alternative paths to traditional employment. They want to rebuild their livelihoods through self-employment. So people with sometimes who have a low income or underemployed and unemployed. People who couldn't find enough work with the skills they have to create their own path to work. So building directives and policies with working with other advisors as a team, for example, with the Ontario Disability Supports Program, I've worked with marginalized communities, I've trained financial investors across the United States and internationally in integrated health and wellness, in luxury resort management and hotels. And it's not just in planning, it's about revenue, ensuring there's revenue analysis, growth, profit, in planning on taking actions that are conducive and productive to the business. It's growing a workforce. I've built community business clinics for social purpose enterprises and support networking that actually work and bring in sustainable profits. And one of the key things about business, working within post-secondary educational institutions, is when we're focused on entrepreneurship, it is about taking research, the academic research, and transforming it in a way that speaks to the business communities as well as the people, creating opportunities. It's also about bringing entrepreneurs together to network, to meet new customers, and to do business. I've supported MBA students with making business plans that are practical and actionable. We tend to focus on intellectual property and licensing. The regulatory setup is very important. Putting together pitch panels, as well as one key factor is working with mentors, bringing in people to help entrepreneurs provide the guidance that entrepreneurs need, as well as access to funding. And I've had the pleasure of having wonderful mentors in my youth. When I was starting out, I've had the pleasure of being mentored by entrepreneur leaders like Bruce Kuhn Tip the chair of and co-founder of Gap Adventures. I've had the pleasure of working with Margot Francine from the Canadian Body Shop, and the late Kay Blair, who was very instrumental along for me as a leader of entrepreneurship training programs, as well as in my own entrepreneurial ventures. I've done this work because I love seeing people succeed, and I bring the same dedication to any role that I take on. So the accident that I was involved in happened 5 years ago, and I was struck by a commercial truck, and it was a life-changing accident. But the reality is I was left with a brain injury, a traumatic brain injury, some nerve damage, and other symptoms that I've learned to live with. But the one thing is I've had to learn is how to hit the reset button, definitely more than once. And I didn't know 20 years ago what a brain injury was myself, so I will just briefly share a little bit. I'll tell you what it's not. It's not like the TV shows, the Fox show Doc or Grey's Anatomy, where you have a brain injury and all of a sudden you remember everything 1 week later. A real traumatic brain injury, or TBI for short, is a little bit messier and non-linear. So there's no dramatic hospital montage. There's no instant return to work. Again, you hit the reset button with courage and resilience, and that's why I'm here sharing my application and my experience with you. And the one gift that I have discovered, or this is my way of thinking about it, is with my brain, it works in different ways. I would say that I gained pattern recognition as my brain shifted with neuroplasticity, which just means it's a way of reorganizing parts of my brain so I can communicate again. I gained this ability to do systems mapping and to understand complex problem solving, and just skills related to that, things I hadn't realized before. And on the other hand, there is this thing, it's not easy to miss, my walker. It's part of that story as well, needing to use a walker, but being able to make the best of it. I'm still mobile, I can move. And some people, I will admit, some people see my walker as a weakness, and I see it as a tool to get around. It reminds me to also, having a cognitive disability reminds me to take breaks, to slow down, and to recharge, making every action and the time that I have count, and more deliberate and intentional when I'm working alone or with others. So I've learned to laugh at the absurdities, sometimes I'll ask the same question twice or 3 times, forgetting why I even asked the question. But on the bright side, I would say that it's very difficult for me to hold a grudge, because usually I forget. So I think the reality is I've learned how to really embrace challenges and embrace it with courage. it's like my own, having to press the reset button is has its moments, but I would say I just embrace it with humor, resilience, and adoption has become my everyday tools. So some of you may ask, why this role? How do I know I'm ready to jump into a leadership role again? Well, I'm here to run a whole ecosystem. And as I've done once before and over again, just with different organizations, and I'm here to bring insight and clarity and support to the leaders and the systems that I will be working with at University of Toronto. So this role, I envision this supportive leadership role as an opportunity to use my skills in cultivating relationships, stakeholder relationships, using the patterns that show up in the academic research to identify opportunities, and it's working within complex structures. It is about helping leadership succeed, something I've done for so many organizations and so many inventors, investors, and entrepreneurs, along with government and global entrepreneurship training programs. And what I can tell you is I will need accommodation, and that is to support me in delivering the best results, delivering the impact that we aim for, and achieving those goals, those organizational goals. And I have to say that support is not, asking for accommodation or support is not a weakness. It creates opportunities. It lets people show up fully and allows others to thrive around me. While I also have the opportunity to thrive. So throughout this journey, I've built a unique combination of experiences, resilience, and perspectives throughout my career. I see complexity differently. I think I see patterns where others see chaos. I can use those patterns to build on projects. I see solutions where others see obstacles, and I do my best to bring humor and humility and show up with heart and emotional intelligence to every situation. And even with a brain injury, I've shown throughout projects or community involvement, I can innovate, teach, and support those around me. And one of the best pieces that I bring back to the University of Toronto is this Indigenous piece. My father was from Mi'kmaq territory, which is for many people called Nova Scotia and Quebec. And I am part of the Anishinaabe community in Treaty 13. And it is about collaboration. It is about working in collaboration, working in ceremony, working to support people and communities in ways that transforms and uplifts people, communities, and businesses. And now I can bring that back to the University of Toronto as if I'm selected for this role. I am ready to serve, support, and build with integrity, courage, and with my unique vision. So I'd like to say thank you for considering my application. Thank you for seeing me, all of me, my experiences, my challenges, my strengths, my potential, and my ability to overcome and my ability to hit the refresh button and wanting to be a part of an incredible institution. University of Toronto, I am familiar with the entrepreneurship, the billions of dollars that in business revenue generated by University of Toronto's entrepreneurs, the more than 20,000 jobs generated through UFT. And this opportunity for me isn't just about a job or work. This is about my mission, my life's work and purpose. It's about getting back to that. It's about serving others. And it's also about using my lived experience combined with my education and my expertise and my unique perspective post-accident to support leadership as well as to continue to innovate in the entrepreneurship community ecosystem. And it's about also showing others, especially other people with disabilities, people who are neurodiverse, and those who face life challenges or are marginalized. It is about sharing this message with First Nations, Inuit, and Métis, and Black Indigenous people all over Turtle Island or Canada. And it is about letting you know, each one of you who get to see this video, part of my application, that you belong and you matter, and that in spite of the statistics, you can thrive. And the last thing I will say is this video was created with so much intention and a lot of preparation, several hours, because excellence sometimes requires extra steps and extra time, and that's something I'm always ready to put in. I'm proud of always showing up, fully showing up as a professional, as a builder, as a community member, and as a human being. It reflects my resilience and leadership and my ability just to keep going, just keep pushing. And this isn't just about, again, my career. It's a reminder to other leaders that people along any path, again, whether that's neurodiversity, whether it's about mental health, your mental health and where you are at, and you're ready, you're taking ownership of your career and your life, and it can show up. Leadership can show up in any body. These are where our journeys meet, and I'm showing up for others to know that you can show up in the way that you want to show up in this world and for your career, regardless of what the naysayers say.